Welcome to the overview for this week. This week's Parliament was framed out by a number of reports the government released last week. The first one being the Fiscal Sustainability Report, which paints a terrible picture of massive debt and poor budget mismanagement by this Hodgman government. If the best case scenario plays out, the state government will owe close to $4.5 billion of debt, and that means it will be spending more money paying off loans as opposed to investing in health, in education, in housing and the key infrastructure projects the Tasmanian community has been looking for. The other report was the interim update on the budget cuts. $450 million of cuts that this government announced at the last budget. The first round and the first wave have been announced last week. And what that means is there's massive cuts to health and massive cuts to education. And that has an impact on frontline services. We know in health they are already in crisis, they're already cut to the bone, and this government are imposing significantly more cuts on that system. And we know in education that means less teachers. So those two reports painted a terrible picture. And what we got from the government this week was rhetoric, and whilst we may have a new health minister, we may have a new infrastructure minister, it's the same old response, that it's Labor's fault and they are failing to take responsibility not only for their poor budget management, but also the vicious cuts that they're inflicting on people. The other report that was released last week secretly was the new draft consultation on the infrastructure strategy, the 30-year infrastructure strategy which was promised by Christmas last year. So they're now close to 12 months late, and the report has no projects, no recommendations, no timelines and no money attached to it. It is essentially 4 episodes of the Utopia comedy. The consultant speak, the babble and the confusing statements from that report is just embarrassing. They have also recommended privatisation of assets and also toll roads, something which under questioning the government have rejected. So they've commissioned a report, they're over 12 months late, they issue a draft consultation and now they're running away from it at 100 miles an hour. It really is a disgrace. And now as we're heading towards the end of the parliamentary year, we always look at how many pieces of legislation the government introduces. It reflects their agenda, it reflects their vision and their passion for Tasmania. On average, governments in a non-election year will introduce anywhere between 75 to 100 pieces of legislation. We have 3 weeks to go, and this Parliament and this government has only introduced 45 pieces of legislation so far this year. This is a disgrace. They have really exhibited by their lack of a legislative agenda that they have no vision for the state. So budget cuts, poor budget management, an infrastructure strategy or a draft consultation strategy they're running away from, and a lack of legislation for the House to deal with. This has been yet another shocking week for the government and illustrates they really have no idea about what to do for the future of Tasmania. As the Premier's Chief of Staff said in a recent opinion piece, lacklustre and no vision. Well, thanks. Another big week in Parliament. We've got the Southern Show weeks next week, and then we're back the week after, so we'll update you then.